Well, might as well continue off the series with the start of the new season, which, not gonna lie, I would say this is more stunning than what we have currently so far. I mean, you look at the visuals of the weapons that we have, the weapon designs are pretty cool, as well as, I guess, with the background lobby. Still no new map, though, unfortunately. Would have been nice to have, like, a map dedicated to this lobby background. But might as well continue off with this video being another part of the series, and let's just hope for the best that it goes pretty well. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. There's probably a few things I could talk. There's a couple things I could talk about here. But you've probably seen as of recently that they announced that they're going to do is giving away one DLC set through the Epic Games Store. That some of you probably already heard the announcements, though if you haven't heard, that being the Poison Retro skin. It comes with the weapons that comes with the weapons from the Digital Heroes set, that being the Laser Cycler, the Wave Pulsar, as well as the Digital Sunrise. So you better have access to 3 of those weapons, as well as the Poison set skin, which would do is amplify their damage to have Poison Tick as well. Ideally, if you want to get this set, it's pretty simple. You just have to do is, it's just required to do is have in order to do is get it available. But I think it is from the 5th to the 12th, so you have some time to better do is pick up the Poison Retro set. So yeah, it kind of makes me wonder what other DLC sets would they sort of give away for free. Sort of question if they're going to do next with the Critical Strike set, or the Dark Fire set, which I feel like the Dark Fire set it's probably I'll put it at second, right below. Or I guess if you were to have a tier list in terms of weapons that do take damage, that would probably be the Poison Retro set, the Crit Strike, as well as then third being the Dark Fire. I guess you can put it a little bit more higher, as you do have the Tac Knife, which recently got buffed, as well as I think it was the Heavy Sniper Rifle, which also got buffed. I'm not sure if it did get buffed as of recently, but I'll probably check and see if it did. So you got like 2 good weapons from it. But yeah, as you can see, we managed to just complete the match, 27 to 19. Alright, and starting off the next match here on Chinatown. Seems to be a pretty fresh lobby. You've probably seen as of recently decided to return the Pixel Poly event. I think it's like the 4th time this Pixel Poly returned. What they decided to do is do a few changes with it. One of them, which is pretty noticeable, is that you don't necessarily get infinite rolls anymore. Instead, you're limited to 5 rolls per day. Which I wouldn't necessarily say it's much of an issue with it having a limited the amount of rolls that a player might get per day. I feel like the only issue is that I feel 5 is too low. It would have been best to have it be doubled to 10, and you could possibly have like 30 with the. I would call it just the booster pass. It gives you 15 if you were to just buy it. But I would say it would be a lot better if they were to just increase it to 10 and have for the booster pack to be the booster pass to be 30. It is something that they're somewhat experimenting with, which there's the benefit from it. That being where all the items you can buy from the market are available free-to-play wise. Since they did said with this Pixel Poly they're going to change it up, but with it not having an event pass, similar to what we have as the past couple, I guess, 2 years now? Yeah, 2 years since event passes were a thing. So yeah, most of the items you can better get from it, even after when you complete even after you claim the main reward being, what do they call it, like the flame horse? I heard it's pretty good. Kinda does make a question if we'll ever see this gimmick of a daily limit be a thing, because something like this, which I sort of talked about probably in a past video, where something that had an issue something that was similar to this was with the 18.0.0 update, which would you believe that it's gonna be? I think it's in year like it was in 2019. Was it no? It would have been 6 years since the since the 18.0.0 update came out, and with it having a limit of the amount of keys you made to get per day. And obviously the one downside that came with that update was with that. Sort of doing is limiting the amount of lottery chests that the players can get per day. Then they would do is ultimately remove them, or I guess eventually, but then would ultimately do is revert the update altogether. And just like that, level 39. And there's like with currency here. And we're getting close to level 40. So yeah, that's my only suggestion when it comes to that, is sort of increase the amount of rolls you can get per day. That being currently where we are with 5 rolls per day, to increase it to 10 and just have the pay for like the Tycoon Pass be 30. I feel like it would be nice. And then I feel like 5 is it's a little bit too minimal. But again, and obviously with a lot of things when it comes to it, pretty simple with it being RNG. What you do is have a chance of either completing a lap or two, or probably getting close to even completing one single lap. Which there's that, and as I mentioned before, they decided to have every single item here free to play, or I guess available to get free play wise. It's also a surprising addition for them to do is have a returning weapon, nothing with the PBX assault rifle. This was the last, I guess the third wave of the Pixel Poly event, which I would say was a lot more interesting with them having the gimmick of wings instead of limbs. But I do feel it was a lot more challenging when it comes to getting limbs as compared to what we have currently, where it's just pure limbs instead of wings. What's that one map you could possibly say was probably a lot more of a traumatizing? You would possibly say with like Scarab Temple, due to the amount of Alrighty then. Due to the amount of matches, or I guess due to the amount of challenges that for some reason that the season passes would give you, specifically on this map, was absurd. And I guess you could possibly say for like most matches, to try to do is play a map for what, like 15 or 20? I think the Lord decided to do is downscale it down. Decided to do is downscale them back to sort of a few matches you can miss with the half, as opposed to almost quadruple the amount. I guess the one thing I could probably talk about in for this last match is, are we gonna get any updates on, I guess, Pixel 2, which I feel like there won't necessarily be any updates for it, to be honest. I mean, you know, I've seen a couple people say that, is there any news for like Pixel 2, which I feel like they won't necessarily do is even publish any information about it, as from that one article you've probably seen when it comes to developers using AI for, or I guess generative AI. It doesn't necessarily indicate what type of AI, but you know, I would just say like generative AI. They've explained how they're not going to do is like show any raw footage. They want to just have it be fully completed, like show some complete gameplay instead of any concept designs or I guess any raw footage of, or like raw gameplay, which I get how that can go, but I feel like we're all just like waiting for some information that indicate, oh hey, they actually are working on this game, and you know, but have the community's opinions about it, but without nothing being I guess teased, and obviously the community is probably being left with not really much anything. As it did say in that article, the developers don't want to do is to sort of hide the game from the community, when in reality it's practically doing the opposite, and practically the thing that they're doing is there. But then again, I guess we don't necessarily need to be waiting for that long anymore, as we do have, as supposedly being early 2026, it could either be a release either this month or or March. Again, I'm still thinking it's either like a late March or an early February. Wait, late March and an early April. But anyways, you know, not necessarily much for this match. It's pretty simple 2v2. But anyways, that's gonna do it for me, and thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, have a good day, night, whenever you're watching this video. I'll see you guys in the next video.